Hey, what's going on, maniacs? You know who it is. Madman here. Alright, so you guys are probably wondering, the setup looks a little bit different. What the hell am I doing? For those that have kind of hung out with me on my live streams, this is kind of a normal angle for us. Those that haven't, hopefully you catch me in the near future. You dig? So what's doing? Madman has been thinking about a few things, and I've had a question come up a few times, especially during some of my Twitch live streams. I remember having somebody ask me how to come up with a logo and name for like a greaser rockabilly club. And of course, I had advice. I gave my, various advice. And I figured, why not cover a video on it? Because I know there's like little social clubs that are starting up, and people that want to kind of have a logo and a name and a whole thing, kind of like they did back in the 50s. Now, I'm not telling you guys to start gangs. You guys want to have little social clubs, little party clubs, that's fine. Have fun, have a good time. Build the community up. Don't tear it down. You dig? So I'd given advice, and I thought about, why the hell not do the video for everybody and kind of give you my process, the madman process of how I would start a club and how I come up with a logo for it. So it's kind of cool, I can mix my greaser knowledge with my artistic skills and abilities. So the first piece of advice I would give you is start off by understanding the culture, the greaser, rockabilly 1950s culture. You're going to have to understand that culture to understand how to come up with a club and a logo and why they would have done it a certain way. Second off, what I would do before even attempting to do a logo is come up with a name. All right. And when it comes to names, I'm just going to throw out some very stereotypical, old school kind of names. I'm not telling you guys to copy these exactly. Come up with something. But let me give you some reference of what, clubs or gangs would have been called in the 1950s. You would have seen a lot of gambling related names. So you would have seen things like, like the blackjacks, the aces, deuces. You would have seen, queens, kings, jokers, things like that. You're also talking about stuff like they'd even take certain cars like the Cadillacs. You would hear things like the Dukes. You would have heard of, they even take like names from birds. So like the Jays, the Ravens, crows, stuff like that, just to give you some reference. A lot of kind of edgy type, names, or even stuff that's a little bit more relaxed, well, like the Dukes or the Imperials or something like that. So once you've established a name, what you're going to call yourselves, now you've got to figure out what logo is going to represent that name that you're going to put on your jacket or patches or whatever, however you're going to do it. And I find one of the best methods, type it into Google and hit images. Go to Google, hit images, okay, and see what kinds of pictures are synonymous with that name. So, for instance, you could take a name like the Imperials, and you're going to see a lot of royalty type stuff, crowns, all right? A crown goes with Imperial very, very well. And here's the thing, I'm not telling you go on there and copy an exact duplicate of a picture you see. Use it for reference, okay? It's not like we're born and we wake up one day and we just all of a sudden just know what to draw or what it should be. A lot of times you have to be inspired by something. Most artists, pretty much all artists, are inspired by someone's work, something they've seen, a picture of something, maybe a building, whatever the fuck it is that they're drawing or painting or whatever it is. They're inspired by something or somebody. So take some ideas and then combine them. Now, if you have an artist in the group, this is what you want your artist to do. maybe print off 2, 3, 4, or just send it to them in a message or something. Pictures. Say, hey, what could you do with this? Could you make this? Could you do this? Could you maybe take this element from this and blend it with this one and put a little bit of the third one into it? You know what I mean? Hopefully, I'm not confusing you too much. Start getting ideas and come up together as a group, the group that you're going to start, kind of come up with an idea of how you want your logo to look. The best way to find artists, talk to people you know, especially for those cats that are in high school that are young. Talk to people. There's plenty of artists in school. They're not hard to find. Look for the kid that's always sketching and doodling and drawing. Usually his classes bore him. Usually he's kind of a class clown. How do I know these things? Because that was me. Yeah, Madman was a class clown if you don't know. And I did a lot of drawing in school when I should have been doing schoolwork, and that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But anyway, what I'm here to do is to give you an idea and kind of just draw some things out real quick. This isn't going to be like a tutorial on how to draw. It's just going to give you some ideas about how you might want a logo to look and where I might start. Let me put this one out. Gotta put the old cigarette out. Try to concentrate here. Now again, I'm just going to be using just this, Papermate pen right here, is black pen, so it shows up real good. And I'm just going to show you the creative process I go through when I'm coming up with ideas for logos or images or things like that. And for those that do want to learn how to draw, this is a great place to start. You got to have some paper, you got to have something to draw with, and you've got to explore. You've got to just try things and see how they work. You're never going to know if you don't go. You're never getting you're never going to get any better if you don't actually put some pen to paper. All right, so let's take the idea of okay, the Imperials. Say that's what, you were going to call your club. So you start off with some ideas of crowns. I mean, you could have just like regular crown, like something like that. And you're like, oh, okay, there's a crown. And it's just flat, it's facing you, it's very 2D, there's nothing special about it. You could put a couple of, things and try to give it some detail or whatever, thicken some spots, make a little bit of shading or shadowing. And just, what I'm doing right now is just sketching. That's all this is. It's just sketching, Can kind of come up with, oh, where would I want the shadows to lie? How would I want it to look? Things like that. So you just kind of play around with it. Because at this point, you're just in that mode of trying to think of an idea. So you've got something maybe that looks like this. It's nothing too fancy, but you're getting an idea. You're just trying things, okay? Maybe you don't want it to be so flat. Maybe you want it to have something else going for it. So why not maybe give it a 3D effect? Let's see here. You could do something like this. And when it comes to making things 3D, it's just understanding perspective and shapes, That's really what it comes down to. So then you maybe throw in some shading here, like so. Put in some shadowing here. I might have the, I don't see it coming up as well as I'd like to see it on the screen, but hell, I can always fix that in editing. And then you can kind of start with doing your points on your crown. And I'm just bleeding into the other one. I don't even care at this point. So now you start having kind of an idea of what you're looking for. And you sketch. You know what I mean? That's basically all you're doing is you're just sketching. You're just trying to figure out how you want something to look. When it comes to coming up with, ideas for names, again, if you're going to use an animal, like what if you were to do something with a cat, right? The something cats or whatever, which is always even very popular to this day. shit, draw something with a cat, like a cat head, you know? And, you know, you don't have to copy the stray cat thing, some do, but you can kind of come up with your own idea. So you just start sketching something maybe a little different. Like, you know, I always like these really lowbrow, extreme looking, you know, type uh, cartoons and art style. I mean, that's pretty much my style is lowbrow. It's lowbrow art. And I like to just do kind of menacing, extreme, cartoony looking characters. That kind of seems to be my thing, and I think it works good for logos, personally. And again, you experiment, you just play with it, you know, you just draw, start coming up with ideas. Ooh, let's give him a big old kind of crazy looking ear here, maybe an earring, you know. Because here's the thing, you can always go back later on and clean everything up and redraw, and you might go through 3 or 4 processes of before you find the right fit for your logo. So say it's going to be a cat, so you need to make this like crazy extreme looking, you know, pissed off cat. And in the greaser, you know, like rockabilly community, it's always very common for everybody to really overdo the stray cat type thing where they go with that, you know, the stray cats logo or different renditions of it. You know, make it a little different, man. Make that shit extreme, make it wild, you know, big old teeth on it. And hell, let's see, what could we do? What could we do? Can always, let me see here. Let's start going on here. And I jump around a lot when I draw, guys. I do a lot of, you know, jumping around. Let me move this into the angle a little bit better. So you get an idea of what we're doing. Big old teeth on them. You know, maybe have some kind of a thing here. You start drawing that. Let's have this like big old tongue or whatever. Like that. Something like that. You know, make it crazy, you know, have some fun with the designing process. Give him some like saliva, like he's seething. Like, ah! You know, I have a few little droplets coming off of there. See what I'm doing there? You know, have some fun with the damn thing. It doesn't have to be all hardcore and serious in the beginning. You just start working on it until you figure out, well, what you want. And I'm like totally not leaving myself enough room to finish anything. That's how I roll. You know, big old whiskers coming off, and whoa, look at that, boom, boom, boom. There's some dots, you know. Hell, I'm not even gonna put any eyeballs in. I want them to look, you know, like crazy and psychotic or whatever. It's really darken it out. Now, normally I always start in pencil, but again, for the sake of doing this, I just wanted to have it show up a little bit better and more contrast. And you can sketch with anything, really. And I can sketch with pens and pencils and all kinds of stuff, but it's if I want to. So, you know, there you got a cat. Hell, what if you wanted to do something? Let me think. You know, if you were going to do something like, you know, the aces or whatever, you know, or something with cards related to cards, you know, hell, do something kind of different, man. Like change an angle up on the thing. So let's kind of do like a card here. You can always do more cards. It doesn't have to just be one. It could be a deck or whatever you want to do. And let's give it some 3D properties, like so. My favorite's always been the ace of spades, you know, the ace of death, so to speak. So you got that, and then you can always, you know, add some detail to them, make them look like they're kind of ripped by just kind of making it look distressed, like so. And some lines. But I think one of the best ways to go about doing this is go to Google, you know, and just search images. type in the name that you're looking for, or something along the lines of the name you're looking for, and check it out and see what they got to offer. And then you can add like another card if you want. So you can do another one. This is just a planning stage. For me, this is like a warm up sometimes, you know. I like to sometimes do these kind of things as a warm up before I actually draw out a piece, any kind of design. But you kind of get the picture. What I'm telling you to do is sketch, play around with it. But you got to come up with a name first. Come up with the name first, because then it's easy, or a lot easier, to find some kind of a, logo, some kind of a picture. What if you wanted something like, you wanted the Dukes or something like that, something like old school tough sounding. Like, what would you do for something like the Dukes? Hell, you could put anything in there, really. Why not draw something like, I don't know. I'll show you. I'll give you an idea. Why not maybe draw something like this? And again, like I said, I'm not telling you guys to copy identically to what I'm telling you, or even try to copy the exact designs I'm doing. Do you be original, or as original as you can be. There's really no such thing as original. It's pretty much all been done before. But you can do it in different ways. You can add different things. You can have your own spin on it. You know what I mean? So if you're going to have like a name like the Dukes or whatever, why not have maybe something kind of crazy looking, That's just my style. You guys might be all about portrait or something. This is just the kind of stuff that I do right here. And I'm just, breezing right through this, not really trying to take my time and go overboard with the design. However it comes out, it comes out, So have some kind of like, crazy looking character or whatever. Let's give him a couple like earrings, make him look all rebelled out and shit. One up there. Got to do another ear over here. So let's just have like another side. What's like one right down here. Didn't have to do two on each side. Mix it up. And then maybe give him some crazy looking, like, some big old pompadour. Let's do the hairline first. Give him some crazy, like, big old sweep of hair or something like that. And then kind of throw in some other stuff as well, like that. Kind of give him this extreme look. And then, you're probably thinking like, oh, but what if it's not just enough to have maybe a head of a bird or a face or something like that? How else could you make it more represent what your club is about? And I'll give you an idea on that here in a sec. So just kind of like do some coloring of the hair or whatever. So you kind of get the idea. What if you wanted to add something more to this? Well, shit. What if your club is you have like a social club, especially like, the adults out there, you guys like to go to bars and stuff, throw a, beer bottle or something behind it, kind of like sketching a beer bottle. Something like that. Or whatnot. Just kind of like give it some shading. Come up with the idea. Maybe you make him look a little drunk. Say like, you have a club of boozers, Well, hell, throw some kind of like bubbles that are coming around him, maybe out of the bottle. Kind of make it look, representative of, oh shit, I've been drinking a lot, man. Stuff like that. Maybe on the other side you put a flask, so you just draw something like, oh hell, let's start at the top, work our way down. So then you just draw something in, you know what I mean? Kind of get an idea. You know what I mean? Just play with it. Play with the idea of what the name of the club is and how you want it to look. Hell, why not have something with letters in it? Let me just go ahead and just put this under here. Okay, like you're going to do something like, I'm not a great letter person. I don't do a lot of letters. I don't really dig that. I like fonts, on computer more than I like drawing them. I just like drawing characters. But, just to get a rough idea, if you're going to do the Imperials, hell, make something kind of crazy, man. Just bubble something in. Make it sharp at the top, for Imperials, like it's a crown or something, man. Kind of give it this crown type look. And again, I'm just sketching through this real quick. One of the things I would tell you is that when you're drawing, especially like letters and stuff, learn how to use rulers and take measurements and straight lines so it comes out at least, halfway decent. So it's not a complete mess. But I'll kind of show you what I'm going to do here. So, you kind of have an idea of like what the name is going to be. Maybe you want it on an angle like that. And, shit, you could always do the crown in the background or something. Hey, that rhymed. Hey, there we go. Get my flow. I'm getting my flow. Watch out. You hear me? I'm coming. Watch out. So maybe in the background you can do that crown that I drew a couple minutes ago, however long it's been. I don't know. I zone out when I draw. Don't blame me. Blame society. And then just kind of pen it in. Sketch it out. Got to remember to buy more of these markers. I may end up using this one up completely on this. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully not. But I mean, you kind of get the idea. You can come up with different angles, different representations of one thing. A crown is not just a crown. It can be in different views. You can have it from the bottom looking up, from the side, from the facing you in a 2D, 3D, whatever you like to do. The same thing goes with anything. Like if you're going to draw, hell, say your club wants to be called the Ravens or something. Shit, I don't know. I don't even know how to draw a raven. Just look it up on Google. You get an idea what it looks like. I just do some kind of crazy little representation here. All right, here we go. Here, give him a cigarette. Instead of a worm, make it be a cigarette in his mouth. You know what I mean? There we go. Give him some kind of cool looking, maybe give him like some kind of like little pomp or some messy looking pomp. Remember, it's a greaser rockabilly club, you know? And you got the cigarette. Give it some like little smoke coming off the thing or whatever. See what I mean? And then you kind of could have something like, let's see, kind of like in maybe block letters or something. And like I said before, experiment. Come up with 3, 4 different renditions. Take your time. You know, you don't have to rush through the process. During your sketching process, just throw ideas on paper. It's like when you're writing out a list of like ideas, like you're like, I want to make something, I want to do something. How do I go about doing it? Just, you gotta start putting ideas down. Same thing with writing, same thing with drawing. You just have to go. You know what I mean? You go. You have fun. Oh, we can add a little shading or something. Give them a 3D effect or whatever. Oh, there we go. Let's do that. Throw a little shading in there. Give it some kind of a 3D effect. As it comes to you, you see, as I'm doing it right now, it's just things are coming to me, so I'm just doing them. I'm just like going, boom. Be creative. Think it through. And as you're doing it, just go, oh, let's see what it looks like this way, and then do it that way. And then say you're like, I don't really like that, but I think it would look a lot cooler front on, maybe lots of, shadows or whatever, and then do that. Whatever comes to your mind. I would say first and foremost, come up with the name. All right? Figure out what your club represents, what you guys are about, what you do. And then start looking for logos, start looking for pictures that represent that name. And put your heads together. Sometimes 3, 4 heads are better than one. So think it through. Come up with ideas. Listen to everybody. Have everybody write out, 5 ideas. If you got like 5 guys in your club, you want to start a club, do the whole thing. Each member does 5 ideas. And then start going through and start voting on which ones seems to be practical, which ones aren't so practical. Do like write them all down and then start going, which ones seem to be the most practical names, the ones you guys seem to like the most. Write those down and do it in order from what you like the most to what you like the least, and start filtering it out. It's almost like when you're panning for gold. You got to start with you start with a certain size, and then you kind of pan it out, and then you keep going down and down and down and down until you get to where you want to get to. Till you get to those little rocks and, little grains of shit that you can get rid of afterward. God, that was a lot. But anyway, so hopefully this video has helped you out from an artist and greaser artist perspective, how I would go about setting up a club name and logo. All right? So what I want you guys to do, the ones that do want to set up a club, I want you to start thinking of some different names. Come up with some ideas and think about pictures that you could throw together that are going to represent that club. All right? So if you don't know, get a clue, get a brew, get a rock and roll tattoo. Hang loose and be safe. The madman is out. I'll catch you on the flip side. So, did you dig this video and find it helpful? If so, give it a like, subscribe, favorite, share. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, and consider subscribing to my Patreon for more rockin' content.